away from her, you bitch!
Wow, Ripley's ship has been out in space for 57 years, but it looks like she's aged 7 years. Well, nobody said hypersleep was perfect.
Nah, she doesn't look that different. And besides, Burke even mentions that being out in hypersleep for 57 years did mess with her health, taking her a while to recover, so that's most likely a part of it.
What gave these guys any indication that the air in here is breathable? Certainly nothing since they walked in here, and if so, why wear the masks at all?
If I had to guess, it probably took this ship a little bit to get breathable air inside, especially since it's been out in space for 57 years.
Jonesy, come here.
Listen, I'm glad the cat ends up being okay. Having said that, shouldn't the hypersleep settings be completely different for different species? Did the cat not age either?
What gave you that idea? Why are you assuming this? Hypersleep is a fictional concept in the first place. It's not like you're basing this off of real science. If the movie says the hypersleep works the same on both humans and cats, then that's how it works. I see no reason to question that.
How long was I out there?
Has no one discussed this with you yet?
Dream's position.
Yeah, but if they didn't say how long she was stuck in space, you'd for sure ask about it. So you should be thankful for this answer.
It's 1 in 1,000, really.
Actually, it's a ton more than 1 in 1,000. The odds are astronomical that Ripley's ship was found. Space is like really, really big. I mean, you may think it's a long way to the chemist, but that's just peanuts to space. Listen, and so on.
Just because it's unlikely that Ripley was found doesn't mean it's impossible. I mean, people in real life still win the lottery, right?
Movie takes the awesome scene from the first one and turns it into a silly gotcha dream sequence.
So this counts as a pointing things out on the screen sin, but also he says this as if that's the only purpose for this scene. It isn't. It's also meant to show Ripley's PTSD after barely surviving the xenomorph in the last movie. It makes all the sense that she'd have nightmares of an alien coming out of her after seeing one come out of Kane.
But I guess all that exposition about her being asleep for 57 years and stand-up comedian Paul Reiser being in this movie still holds, despite the last part being a dream. Sneaky. You get to have a scary moment, pretend to kill your main star, and give the audience useful information.
Everything after you said sneaky sounds like it should be a win. The fact that the movie did all of that in the span of a few minutes is really clever, and we could just assume that Ripley's dream was recreating Burke's explanation to her. Dreams take influence from memories, which is also something I tried to explain in my Inside Out video.
I don't understand this. We have been here for 3.5 hours. Now, how many different ways do you want me to tell the same story?
This is likely what the writers of the next 14 Transformers movies said to Michael Bay when they were locked in the Bastille under his mansion.
Funny that you made this video in 2017, the year Last Night came out, and killed Michael Bay's time directing Transformers. Also arbitrary movie reference.
Why don't you just check out LV-426?
Because I don't have to. There have been people there for over 20 years, and they never complained about any hostile organism.
And I neglected to tell you this extremely important detail until you confronted me after the meeting.
The whole point of the meeting was to get as much information out of Ripley as possible, and then see what they should do with her. Why would he bring this up then?
You're going out there to destroy them, right?
Ripley, who has first-hand knowledge of the ways of the Weyland Corporation, trusts someone from the Weyland Corporation when he says they're not going out there to bring the alien back. Also, I don't quite understand the motivations of the company here. Sure, we need a reason for Ripley to be in this movie, but if they're taking her along, then it means they now believe her story about the alien, of which she already gave them all the information they need, so why bring her along?
She's the only person in this entire base that has first-hand experience with a xenomorph. Burke even explained that she should come to act as a consultant. Maybe she could even give them some extra tips when they get there.
And you little shithead, you're staying here.
Who's going to take care of him? Is she the wheelchair dog owner from Secret Life of Pets?
The answer to this question seems way too obvious, but Ripley obviously gave him to someone. Do you need to know who?
Really makes you wonder why none of these guys have an epic case of morning wood.
Jeremy says boner.
What do you want me to do, fetch your slippers for you?
Gee, would you, sir? I'd like that.
Look into my eye.
The f*** is that supposed to mean?
Apparently this means I don't care.
Yeah, but Bishop missed. He f***ing missed. Sure, he may not have expected Hudson's hand to be under his, but the whole point of this knife razzmatazz is that he can go super fast and not miss. Bishop may be a great upgrade in android technology, but he sucks at parlor tricks.
But I thought the whole point was to intentionally miss his hand and move it so fast to the point of it looking like it might cut the skin. Like, what?
We always have a synthetic on board.
I prefer the term artificial person myself.
Androidical correctness.
Narration.
Also, does it matter what Bishop prefers? How far has AI progressed into sentiency? And if it's at the point where androids have preferences, would they still be taking orders from humans? I think not.
It just looks to me that Bishop is sentient enough to think like this, but still respects his creators. It's a lot like C-3PO in that case.
I'm shocked. Was it an older model?
Yeah, the Hyperdyne system's 128.2.
Hyperdyne? Is that the offshoot of Cyberdyne? Are we mixing our Terminator Alien franchises? Is this after Skynet was officially defeated, or is this a parallel universe? Goddamn Terminator's always covering up their goddamn tracks.
Arbitrary movie reference.
Well, that explains it, and the A2s always were a bit twitchy.
Yeah, but Ash was specifically ordered to get the specimen back to the base, so there was nothing wrong with its behavior or programming. There was something wrong with the asshole who told it to force a fucking magazine down Ripley's throat.
You're saying this as if Bishop knows that, and he doesn't. Ripley never even brings it up, but I doubt it would matter to her, because the fact that an android still puts his commands over the lives of other people is really messed up. Like, Ash literally ignored the quarantine procedure, which endangered the entire crew of the Nostromo.
I'm sorry we didn't have time to brief you people before we left Gateway.
I'll buy they didn't have time to brief the Marines before they left, but they had plenty of time between Gateway and now. Why not shorten the hypersleep cycle by at least an hour on the front end and brief them then? It's not like it would dissuade anyone from the mission. They're already on board.
It doesn't really matter, since they still get their mission explanation either way.
I only need to know one thing. Where they are.
This is the James Cameronization of the Alien franchise, to bring in a bunch of grunts and action this movie up. But the ulterior motive of the mission is to bring some back. So why'd they hire the killingest bunch of motherfuckers they could find?
They still gotta kill some aliens if they want to bring one back.
How do I get out of this chicken outfit?
The producers of this movie took one look at Weird Science and said, hey, Bill, for this movie, don't change a thing.
And I'm really glad about that, because Bill Paxton seriously steals the show in this movie. There's a reason people were sad to hear about his passing.
Assholes and elbows. Hudson, come here.
Come here.
Movie transition. Ship is moving through space. Passage of time.
Jeremy sings in a video cliche.
All right, I want combat seating. You know your places.
Combat seating? Is that a thing?
According to this comment, yes, it's a real thing. Probably should have Googled that before asking this question.
Every time I watch this movie, I'm perplexed as to why these heavily armed Marines let these two unarmed civilians tag along. Okay, Ripley has experience and a paramilitary background, but Burke? That little chicken is an executive. That's like taking Elon Musk to the center of a fucking firefight.
Wait, you said that every time you watch this movie, you're perplexed that both Ripley and Burke are tagging along, but then you explained why Ripley is with them? So are you really confused why she's with them, or do you know why? And Burke isn't in the middle of a firefight, just saying. The idea is that he'll stand aside and observe the whole time.
Ready to get it on.
There's no doubt during the soldiers grab their weapons and board the spaceship scene that they had to stop filming for several days due to James Cameron's tech boners, which are known to last hours and even years.
Jeremy says boner.
Drake, check your camera. There seems to be a malfunction.
Hitting or punching the thing makes the thing work cliche.
I found another comment from Military Experience. Apparently this is realistic. Huh, learn something new every day.
All right, Hicks, Hudson, use your motion trackers.
There was no need for you to do that before now, because, as we all know, aliens don't attack when you first walk into a building.
I feel like it makes more sense to assume the aliens are deeper inside.
Newt, a smart little girl who survived the alien attack, decides to be a jump-scare dick in front of these trigger-happy faces.
Or she's trying to get where she wants to go and isn't meaning to scare them.
Wait, Rebecca Newt was born in Hadley's Hope and grew up here. This is a terraforming and mining base with very few children, but they not only had a functional elementary school, they had time to give out awards for citizenship. Also, if the crew was put into hypersleep to fly out to this colony planet, how much time has actually passed? If second grade represents the good old days for Newt, then this must be a period of like months, tops. So shouldn't she be way older if the trip was so long as to require hypersleep?
You just said that only months would have passed during the trip. How much bigger do you think Newt should be? You said way older, but how would that have happened if only months have passed?
Come on, we're wasting our time.
Yeah, there's no reason to continue to try to get information from what looks like the sole survivor of a xenomorph attack, right?
Who is refusing to talk and probably couldn't tell them all that much. I mean, all she has is that her family is dead anyway.
Newt, look at me. Where are they?
There's no doubt that Newt knows of the fantastic beasts and where to find them.
Hey, the first movie had a character named Ash, the same name as the character from Pokemon. Get it?
They're dead. All right, can I go now?
You know, for someone who's lost their entire friends and family and has eaten nothing but beets for months, Newt's a real bitch.
I feel like that makes sense. What did you expect? Did you think she'd be happy?
This is exactly why you tell your soldiers why they can't fire down here.
Yeah, but she's a soldier. You would think she'd just follow that order, no problem.
This one asshole they decided to check just happened to have an alien ready to burst out of her chest. They passed like 20 other people on the way here, right?
Maybe this one was ready to go while the others needed to wait a little longer.
Bastard alien somehow slipped by everyone and stowed away on the mostly abandoned ship, and motion sensors didn't detect it for some reason. I thought all the aliens were down in the high, but even if there was another one lurking around, the motion sensors didn't detect it. And the pilot didn't either.
But if this ship is mostly abandoned, what motion sensors would have detected it? And the pilot was in the cockpit with the door closed.
You see, even the grunts and f***ing aliens didn't attend the Prometheus school of running away from things.
So, this movie did something better than Prometheus, and you're still giving this movie a sin?
How long after we're declared overdue can we expect a rescue?
17 days.
From where? The same base Ripley and the crew left?
Yeah? Is that not obvious?
If so, why the hell did they go into hypersleep for 17 days?
What? Are you talking about this crew or the crew back at the base? What does hypersleep have to do with this question about Ripley and the crew being overdue? I'm genuinely confused.
It's just a little longer than a regular moon mission from the 20th century.
According to this website, the Apollo 11 mission happened for 8 days, which is way shorter than 17. So I don't know why that was relevant.
Nope. Nothing bad in there.
Ripley, she doesn't have bad dreams because she's just a piece of plastic.
Newt would be amazing at CinemaSins.
But doesn't Ripley know this already? How does this gag work in this scene?
I want these specimens destroyed.
Mr. Burke gave instructions that they were to be kept alive in stasis for return to the company labs.
Burke gave Bishop the keep the specimens alive order, but he neglected to also give him the don't tell everyone what I'm doing because that'll freak everyone out and they may want to kill me order.
Judging by how delusional Burke is, he probably assumed that Ripley would understand.
You'll take care of it, won't you?
If it comes to that, I'll do us both.
Hicks finds an extremely inopportune time to propose a weird sex act to Ripley. Or is it?
Pull it in tight here.
Whoa, maybe this weapons training scene is a sex scene.
Double dipping.
Movie will try to make us believe that Burke somehow tossed a couple of facehuggers into this room in order to impregnate Ripley and Newt. But how the f*** did he do that? Did he find some unconscious facehuggers that he knew would wake up eventually and slip them in there when no one was looking?
Really? This genuinely might be the stupidest sin so far. Remember when you made the sex education joke?
Alien that looks like a vagina is automatically more sex education than any Tennessee high school is willing to teach.
Yeah, that scene showed there were 2 facehuggers that were being kept under glass. Obviously, Burke sent those 2 into the room to impregnate them.
7, 6.
Can't be, that's inside the room.
Ripley, did you not see the last movie?
She did, which is why shortly after saying this, she figures out that maybe the xenomorphs are above them.
Bastard! Come on, you too! Oh, you want some of this?
You know, as annoying as Hudson is in this movie, I'm gonna knock off a sin for how Bill Paxton plays him. Maybe I'm being sentimental, but damn, he went full on into this role. But I'm also going to add a sin back for this sudden alien in the door that comes out of nowhere.
Removes a sin for Bill Paxton's performance, and then adds one back.
Yep, Burke is dead. My question is, though, how did he expect to survive any of this when all the exits were sealed? They were waiting for Bishop to do his shit while they stayed safely behind the walls, so I don't know what he was really expecting here.
I mean, this dude has been characterized as an idiot. He really expected to bring aliens back to Wayland Corp, despite knowing how dangerous that is.
Which way is it to the landing field from here?
This way.
I know Newt's been crawling through these tunnels for a long time, but how the f*** did she keep track of where the landing field was during her crawling experiences?
But didn't you say earlier that Newt has been here for months? Surely she would have memorized this place by now.
Not that an alien really needs the element of surprise in this situation, but why not just drag Newt underwater before announcing its presence?
Well, it got her anyway, so what's the point of this question?
She's alive! She's alive!
Every other asshole that's been attacked by these aliens is super f***ing dead, but Ripley immediately assumes Newt survived this.
But they were attacking them, causing the aliens to kill them. Newt didn't, so it makes sense to keep her alive so they can impregnate her.
Also, Ripley's readout showed several xenomorphs directly coming at them, but only one kidnaps Newt, so I'm guessing the rest of them just took a smoke break or something.
Or that's exactly why Ripley and Hicks are running right now?
While Ripley prepares for battle, Hicks casually does a speedball to chill out after a hard day.
This implies that he's just hanging out because he's being lazy. The problem with this is that CinemaSins cut the scene that showed Hicks getting some acid splashed on him.
Get it off! Here!
Don't get me wrong, this gearing up sequence is badass, especially featuring a female character for a change. But Ripley had like a minute-long gun lesson with Hicks earlier, and now she's a weapons expert?
I'm still not over you removing a sin for Rey force-pulling that lightsaber in Force Awakens. Like, why are you okay with that, but not this?
Oh my god, Ripley has a facehugger on her! Oh, that's just Newt.
This weird sin.
Ripley goes on a rampage against the alien eggs. Who could blame her? These aliens are super evil, and everyone is better off with them dead. But isn't this facility set to explode in about 5 minutes? Why is she wasting time with this when A, she needs to get back on the ship now, and B, the reactor's explosion will do this job for her?
Ripley is doing this so the aliens don't come after them while they're escaping.
Can we have established rules for when someone gets acid on them after shooting an alien? Because it only happens when the plot really needs it to.
This particular alien wasn't very close to Ripley, so that's why the acid didn't catch her.
Close your eyes, baby.
Machina Ex Machina comes in the form of Bishop and the ship he's piloting.
How is this a Deus Ex Machina? Bishop was literally meant to pick her up the whole time, so how is this a solution that comes out of nowhere? Which is what Deus Ex Machina means.
Back in college, I watched this movie in pop culture class. Yes, I got actual credit for studying pop culture. Isn't life awesome? Anyway, we were told to look for any kind of symbolism in the movie. And in this scene, 2 people in unison yelled, "Queen takes Bishop!" And it was annoyingly clever or cleverly annoying, depending on your point of view. I'm really sorry and glad to share that with you today in this video, Sins viewers.
And he said all of that just to make the chess pun? That's really cheesy.
Also, this is a fucking great scare, but why spend all this time cutting Bishop in half? He's posed 0 threats to the aliens this whole movie, and now she's completely given up the element of surprise.
I'm pretty sure she's pissed about Ripley killing all her babies, so is just far too angry to care.
Thankfully, Ripley toiled in that menial shipping stocking job at the base, so she could probably kung fu the out of this mech loader.
I'm confused again. You're saying because the movie set this up, it's a sin? But I thought a movie setting something up is a good thing, and that's what makes the payoff so much more satisfying. That's why Chekhov's gun is a thing.
Believe it or not, Ripley is in yet another airlock situation with an alien. It's really the only way to dispose of the final baddie.
But didn't you make this video in 2017, years after Alien 3 came out? They didn't use an airlock to defeat the alien in that movie. Though, then again, I can see why you'd want to forget that movie's existence. I still haven't forgiven them for killing literally every single character.